welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about my skincare journey and more specifically my dealing and tackling my redness issue. So a few years ago I was suffering very bad from redness right around in the cheek area. I didn't have the rosacea symptoms of the acne that come along with it, but it would be so red at times that it would have kind of a purple tinge to it. So it was extremely red, and I was extremely self-conscious about it, and it was bothersome to me. It also would be very hot on my skin. And yes, you heard Finley. I have locked Finley out because he was barking so uncontrollably, but he's still in the back of the house barking. So again, I apologize, and I will say this is not a very professional setup, so please bear with me. But going back to my redness, I would visit Ulta, Sephora, beauty counters, some very high-end places. I can remember one time being at Bergdorf's trying to get help with my redness, and it seemed like no one really knew. When I said, they were like, what's your biggest concern? And I said redness, they kind of all stepped back, and no one seemed to really have a plan or something that could fix the problem. Now, they would sell me all sorts of stuff, and me being me, I would buy it and I would get home and nothing seemed to work, and a lot of stuff seemed to actually make matters worse. So I was actually on YouTube one day and I was watching a woman, Robin A, and I was watching her for her handbags. And I was scrolling through her account and her feed, and I saw that she actually did a video discussing her rosacea and her redness. So I clicked on it and watched it. And when I was watching it, I heard her mention somebody named Caroline Hirons. So then I started looking at Caroline Hirons, looking at her YouTube channel, looking at her Instagram, and reading her blogs. That's when I found Instagram and the skincare community, and the rest, as I would like to say, is history. So during my discovery of the Instagram community and this journey and learning things, there are, I believe, 6 things that I think are what I have changed, and 6, I would say, game changers for my skin. And I wanted to share those with you today. The first one is the double cleanse. Now, before I was on Instagram and before I watched Robin A, I really had never heard of a double cleanse. And in my previous video, I think I just assumed that all of you knew what a double cleanse was. And then one of my close friends said, what is this double cleanse you're talking about? So I figured I needed to go into a little more detail in this video about what an actual double cleanse is. So a double cleanse is when your first step of your skincare, you would take a balm or an oil cleanser and get off your makeup. Or if you don't wear makeup, like say for men, you would get off your sunscreen and just the gunk of the day, any sweat, you're just getting everything off of your skin. So for this step, I like a product something like the Colleen Rothschild Radiant Cleansing Balm. Now, you don't have to use this one. I have a lot of other ones, but this is one that I reach for. It's a cleansing balm. You put it on your skin, massage it in. You can massage it as long as you want to, and then I remove it with a warm, wet washcloth. For my second cleanse, then I like to go in with something similar to the Glossier Milky Jelly Cleanser. Now again, you don't have to specifically use this one, but a gel cleanser is good, or if you like a creamy cleanser, that's good too, or you can even use an oil at this step. It's up to you, but this step is actually for cleansing your skin. You've gotten rid of the makeup, and let's be honest, I need to double cleanse every single day because I wear a lot of makeup. That balm and balms and oils will get rid of all of this. Then I like to go in and cleanse the skin. And what I realized is that I don't think I was ever actually cleansing my skin to where the following products ever penetrated and did anything worthwhile. So I was spending all this money on these products, but yet they were never actually getting to my skin to help my skin. So my first game-changing thing that I did was I started the double cleanse. And y'all, there's a cat walking across the yard, and that's what Finley's going crazy about. So next up would be an exfoliating toner. Now prior to me discovering Robin A, I used an exfoliating toner because when I turned 30, I started suffering from hormonal breakouts here around the chin area. And I ran into an esthetician in Ulta who recommended glycolic acid. Well, I started using glycolic acid and it got that under control. So what did I do? I used it every single day. That might have been a bit of a problem and could have been something that actually caused my redness. So what I decided to do instead, and what I figured out works best for me, is to definitely use an exfoliator, an acid exfoliator, but use something a little more on the mild side. And my absolute favorite one is the Pixie Skin Treats Glow Tonic. It's 5% glycolic acid, and the next ingredient is aloe. The aloe provides a great soothing ingredient to follow up behind the glycolic acid. Now, I know a lot of people can't handle glycolic acid. So if you're one of those people, have no fear. My second favorite one to reach for that I find incredibly mild, does not make my face turn red, is the January Labs Skin Essential Daily Brightening Tonic. This is a lactic acid, and even the ingredient in front of lactic acid is aloe. So both of these contain aloe, both of these are mild, and both of these provide a great exfoliation. However, not for every day. I think if you're suffering from redness, at least for me, this is something that's good to use 2, maybe 3 times a week. But I have to rely on acid exfoliation. I cannot rely on manual exfoliation. My skin cannot handle things like a scrub, anything with a texture, even a cleanser with a texture, whether it be grains or beads or anything like that. My skin cannot handle a Clarisonic. And part of me thinks that possibly overusing a Clarisonic when they first came out could have broken down the barrier on my skin. So I don't reach for a Clarisonic anymore. My skin can't tolerate that. Now I'm just speaking on what has worked for me. Next up, something that I had never used in the past before getting on Instagram, but I think has been a game changer for me. So this would be number 3, and that would be the mist. I absolutely love face mist. It has actually become probably my favorite step in my entire routine. One of my favorite ones is the January Labs Restorative Tonic Mist. This mist is so good. The second ingredient is aloe. I think you can see a pattern here that I have great luck with aloe on my skin. And this product, if my face is red from being at the gym, I can mist this on my skin, and it tones it down. You don't have to specifically use this one. I have other mists that I like, but I also like it for the hydration factor. I feel like that is like the first step in my hydration, where I am trying to get more hydration into my skin, and I'm kind of trying to sandwich it all in. So for me, a game changer has been adding a mist to my regimen. Next up is hyaluronic acid. I don't think I knew the importance of hyaluronic acid, or even knew what hyaluronic acid was, prior to getting on Instagram and prior to really embracing this skincare journey. I now do not have I very rarely, I should say, I don't want to say I never, but I very rarely do a skincare routine without some form of hyaluronic acid. I've tried many kinds, but my absolute favorite, of course, is the Jordan Samuel Hydrate. This is absolutely beautiful. It is soothing to the skin. I find that it really helps reduce my redness, keep my redness down when my skin is fully hydrated. And this is what I use to keep my skin hydrated. It is a beautiful, it's just a beautiful serum, and it plays well with others. You can layer it well, and it's absolutely beautiful. However, you don't have to get the specific one. While I think this is one of the best ones on the market, there are tons of serums out there that are specific for hyaluronic acid, and I believe that has made a big difference in my redness and dealing with redness. Now, the next game changer is something that you might all say, oh, this is crazy. And I want to start with this preface. This has worked for me. It may not work for you. I am not an expert. I'm strictly here telling you about my journey and what has worked for you, and what has worked for me, and what has been a game changer for me. One of the biggest game changers for me has been retinol. Retinol has, and if you do research and you look into it, people who deal with redness and rosacea, half the people respond well to retinol, half don't. I happen to be one who responds really, really well to retinol. I have been using retinol for a while. I have even used prescription strength and my skin has never looked better. But I have determined, even better than the way my skin looked on prescription retinol, my skin looks better when I use a retinol oil. And there are many of them on the market. I currently have 3 in my rotation. This is the one by Colleen Rothschild. Jordan Samuel has a beautiful one as well. There's a bunch of different ones out there, but this is a game changer. Because it isn't in an oil format, it is easier on the skin. It is more soothing on the skin. It does not, you don't have to deal with the peeling and the dryness and the irritation that comes along with retinol. Now, let me say this. Even when I use prescription retinol, I didn't have any of that. So for some reason, I mean, like I said, my skin just loves it. It just soaks it up. But I use this on the daily. Now, I say on the daily. The days that I use a glycolic or an acid, I don't use a retinol. I might could, but I just don't. I feel like that's a little too much. But every other day, I am using a retinol oil. I like the fact that the oil is mild enough to use it every day, and my skin is thanking me for it. Lastly, as far as game changers go for redness, is daily sunscreen use. Y'all, I have hated sunscreen my whole life, and 3 years ago, if you told me that I was wearing sunscreen every day under my makeup, I would have told you you were a liar. I knew I needed to do it, but I never found a sunscreen that I loved until I met this one. The Ulta MD UV Clear Broad Spectrum SPF 46 Facial Sunscreen. You have no idea it's a sunscreen when you're putting it on. My mother hates sunscreen too, and I put this on her, and she's like, she has no idea it's a sunscreen. Doesn't feel like sunscreen, doesn't smell like sunscreen. But as long as you are protecting your skin, it is making a difference with redness. It just is. It is something that I have found to be a game changer. It makes me not have flare-ups as bad. I'm not getting that extra UVA or UVB rays to my skin, and it is making all the difference. So those were my 6. I'll go back through them. The first game changer was a double cleanse. The second was acid exfoliation, but I should say reasonable use, where you don't over exfoliate your skin. Third is a mist. Love a mist. I think a mist is so incredibly important. Fourth, hyaluronic acid has really been a game changer for me. Fifth would be retinol in the oil form, and then lastly, definitely SPF. So if you have any questions about anything I've talked about, please let me know. Send me a message, like this video, subscribe. Please go over and follow me on Instagram. I still do lives, get ready with me's. I pop on there and talk. I would love to get to know you all and communicate with you. And as I always say, I hope that you are having a fantastic day and a great week. And I will see you all soon. Bye.